again and beating the game. You don't have to beat every single dungeon. Having to get an item out of Ganon's tower for a pendant can be annoying in those cases. But we are underway. We are in Link's house, and we are getting a few sticks and a key from the sanctuary that goes to Turtle Rock. So already we're getting a key we're not going to need for probably about an hour or more.
Well, at least we hope we don't need it for an hour or more. If we need that Turtle Rock key in under 30 minutes, then this is horrible.
We might have a problem if that's the case. We might have to go contact Vitor about that one. As Tstew, and I'm not sure how you say that name, so I apologize, but Tstew is looking into the back of Escape here, and we're going to see what the uncle has, as GFE looks like he's doing Houlihan strats.
Houlihan, always really nice at this point in time. It gets you some extra rupees, just kind of start things off a little bit more consistently. That way you don't have to rely on picking up any rupees, although Tstew did end up showing us that the tree pull, I think it was the tier 2 tree pull, was actually just 5 rupees as well, so that might come into play a little bit. Tstew did also show us a bottle and the blue mail in this first part of Escape, so already some value as he goes into the Kakariko village area.
I believe that bottle also had a fairy in it, so that's something that the runners will have to remember if they want to do some kind of a death warp. Don't try a death warp and then have the fairy revive you and have to do it all over again or waste time walking around. So they'll have to remember to use that fairy or at least release it if they want to take that death warp at some point.
Yep, GFE is doing exactly what Tstew just did, going to be cashing in, so he'll be right there with the fairy in a bottle as well as the banana hat, blue mail. It'll be interesting. It does look like Tstew is going to see what exactly is on this ledge. It's not something we see a lot of runners end up checking immediately, but this is all dungeons. You know you're going to have to defeat Aghanim anyway, so if you can get some value from it, might as well.
That looks like it's just a burrito, so I don't think we're going to be too worried about going back to that item at any point soon, or at all in that matter. So the Lumberjack is not in play. At this point, Aghanim is not necessarily required for progression, but there could be some kind of item layout that forces it later on. We will see what happens here.
Not required for progression, but again, because it's all dungeons, it is going to be required before we go.
We have a hammer in Lost Woods.
Hey, Cyclone. We should stop. Because
is it time to pound thing?
It's hammer time. So yeah, that early hammer is actually a great early weapon right here. It does the same sort of damage that the tempered sword does, in addition to being one of our keys to early Dark World access.
I saw GFE was farming bombs on the other side, so he does have 3 bombs in his inventory now. About to check the race game, which I think TS2, no, he's coming from the Lost Woods. GFE checks the race game. I don't think that was anything worthwhile. I saw a number on there of some sort, so I don't think he'll be doing that. TS2 is heading towards Blind's Hut, and we're going to see... Actually, no, he's doing the well first. We're going to see what's in the well before Blind's Hut.
Yeah, he does not have enough money to buy bombs, so he's going to make a gamble that he'll be able to pick up some bombs. Small key to Swamp Palace.
There you go.
Dang.
Lamp. And no bombs in here, so he's going to have to come back here to see what that item in the back is later. We'll see if GFE finds something really good back there and gets an early advantage out of that.
Well, Tstew is immediately making a beeline to be able to go and do that particular... he's going to go pick up some bombs. GFE does pick up our first sword from the sick kid. Tstew's going to be picking that up directly as well. Oh, and that was the Sanctuary Heart, it looks like.
Oh, very nice.
This is one of those instances where GFE's early Houlihan room is actually going to pay off because he has the rupees not only to buy bombs, but also get the bottle vendor. Tstew has to be a little bit careful with his finances early on.
And there's one thing I'm trying to figure out. How did the sick kid get a very sharp sword under his bed? I can't figure that out.
You know, he's in bed and sick. They say he's sick, but he really cut himself really quite hard on that particular sword, so he just doesn't want it anymore.
Yeah, after you injure yourself on something, you don't want that something anymore. Oh, we have a cape in the back of the well there. That could be very interesting, actually, depending on the items that show up. As long as we have Dark World access, that may not mean anything. But if we have any trouble getting Dark World access, like any gloves or anything like that, we could end up still having Aghanim at play with that cape if we find the Master Sword somewhere.
So here's the deal. We have to wait now to see if we have the 2 Castle Tower keys somewhere, because if not for those 2 Castle Tower keys, we have access to Aga. I can imagine that our runners, if they find those breadcrumbs, are going to immediately go there, because that's just too much coincidence.
We have a Moon Pearl in Blind's Hut, and we also found another key to Turtle Rock, so I believe that's 2 of those keys now. And GFE is checking the chest in the back of Blind's Hut in the vandalized section and finds a few more sticks back there.
It is worth noting, again, that Tstew is the higher ranked seed in this particular matchup. So this is his choice here for this nasty seed in terms of key sanity, all dungeons. That was his decision. What you have to do at all dungeons key sanity, it tends to be more linear in my experience, which tends to benefit the more experienced runner. And I've seen Tstew around. I don't know if I've seen GFE around quite as much. So that might have been on his mind when he chose this flag set.
I find that in this tournament so far, a lot of the higher leveled runners are picking all dungeons in the first round, just for that reason. It's a good test of a runner's skill. And I think some of those runners, I can't speak for all of them, but I think some of those runners are actually wanting to A, show their own mastery of the game, and B, test their opponent at the same time to see, hey, this is what I want you to beat me at. Come beat me now.
Well, and it's a smart play in this particular tournament format. The higher seed, you have to play to your advantages, because the lower seed, if they are not necessarily confident in their abilities, they are going to do the same thing. They're going to pick something with a high degree of randomization where they can make those low percent plays and come out ahead there.
Correct. And GFE finds his burrito at Lumberjack, which we will not be collecting. TS2 looks like he's going to go clean out the dam and find what 2 items are down there for us today.
Yep. The main things we're looking for right now are going to be a lift upgrade of some capacity. A single lift upgrade will get us access to the Dark World, so that'll really unlock quite a bit for us. The empty burrito mapped to Hyrule Castle is right there. That was slightly not good.
Yeah, maps are not something we really have a need to see in... I'm just thinking out loud. No, in Key Sandy, normally maps are okay because they give you, I think, the map check information, but for the Castle Tower or for the Hyrule Castle in some way, they are absolutely useless.
Absolutely. In Key Sanity, it is worth noting that the maps will allow you to pause the menu and do the standard map check to say, hey, this dungeon is going to be a crystal or a pendant. In all dungeons, less valuable. The compasses will allow you to have a counter in the dungeons that tell you how many treasure chests you may have left open before it's fully cleared out. Less valuable for those speedrunners who have all this information memorized, but still valuable information for us because it's one less thing for us to keep track of.
And we're back in the back of Mini Moldorm Cave right now. We have a heart, a big key to Palace of Darkness, a compass for who cares, another full heart container, and another full heart container. This is a life-filled cave, to say the least.
This is truly the Tunnel of Love. Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
All right. So Tstew is making his way over here to Ice Rod Cave. It looks like is GFE going to continue to follow him. They've been kind of mirroring each other's movements up to this point in time, haven't they?
Yeah, in the last little while, they started out going in separate directions, then they retrace each other's steps, and now they're basically following on the same path as their paths merge. And they seem to have pretty much done all the same things at this point. So I'm going to be very interested to see who makes what play. I'm looking at the item count right now. We obviously have the Moon Pearl, the hammer, the lamp. We don't have the bows, so Palace of Darkness, or sorry, take that back. Eastern Palace, as we get the big key for Thieves down from Ice Rod Cave. Eastern Palace cannot be fully cleared without the bow, but there is still a possibility of going through the rest of the items in Eastern Palace and getting everything except for that boss item at the end.
Now, we got the big key to Thieves Town. That indicates to me that's going to be one of the first dungeons we actually full clear at this point in time and defeat the boss for, just because we have everything necessary except for, of course, Dark World access, which we're only one thing away from it at that point in time.
Of course, I believe there will still be one item that can be locked behind that small key. We do have the hammer, we just don't have the small key to get to that item in the big chest. But other than that, yes, Thieves Town can definitely be cleared, and once they get to Dark World, I'm sure the runners will be looking at that.
And again, they're following in each other's footsteps or in flipper steps at this point. They are both fate flippering on their way over to the hobo over here. Man, this is just going to be a foot race between these two, isn't it?
It could very well come down to execution in the end, as we get, I think, what we call a bacon coin. The Quake medallion is located on the old man. Tstew having a bit of a bad jump getting off of the ledge somehow, and has to try it again, so he loses a small amount of time on that, but he's otherwise okay. And GFE gets it down first try, so they are following each other out of the unfortunate man's area there. I think we're going to look at the ledge item here. The ledge item appears to be, I think that was bombs on the ledge.
It did. It is worth noting that in the latest version of the logic, all of the capacity upgrades, the bomb capacity upgrades and arrow capacity upgrades, have been removed in the game and replaced with their just regular arrows or bombs. That does mean an increased likelihood of picking up bombs, but we've seen a few times our runners have inadvertently run out of arrows or bombs because they're so used to picking up a ton of capacity upgrades along the way.
The nice thing with that, though, is that you can actually, any runner can make any trip straight to we have a Master Sword in the Waterfall Cave. So any runner can actually make a trip to where the upgrades are now located on a great ferry near the Ice Palace. I believe it's in the Light World side. And this is a cave that you would normally have never seen in the past because you never had any reason to go there. But now all the upgrades are stored there. If you pick up if you go there, you can actually pick up the upgrade, and that upgrade will also refill your items. So if you have no arrows left, you go buy an upgrade for 100 rupees. You get 35 arrows. You get 40 arrows, whatever the next number is in line.
So it should be noted that was a sequence break. That Master Sword that we have is technically out of logic, but we didn't really get anything else worthwhile out of logic. It looks like GFE is going up here, going to be doing the escape sequence, and we finally have some route divergence. Escape versus Eastern. Eastern is a little bit more dense. 6 treasure locations that we can get. Well, wait, no, because Eastern's more dense because we don't have to worry about keys and dungeon items, right?
Correct. There's no keys in Eastern Palace except for the ones that we find there anyway under the pots. But those aren't considered randomized. Those are still going to be exactly where we find them. And that means runners can do all of Eastern Palace except for the boss because we don't have the bow. And looking at the green pendant in Swamp Palace. So Swamp Palace today is our green pendant if we want to get whatever the old man has for us.
And a big key to Tower of Hera, so we'll be able to ascend Tower of Hera now once we get access to that. That's something to keep in mind. That's a really nice dungeon to be able to clear when you're trying to do the east part of Death Mountain at the same time as well.
We do, of course, have to find our way to Death Mountain first to be able to do that, either with the mirror. We have the lamp, but we would either need a glove to get up to Death Mountain, or we can use the flute to get up there. The mirror would be needed for one route. Otherwise, we can just work our way around through the other route and use the hammer to pound the pegs on the east side. So there's multiple ways to get to Tower here once we get the items. That could be a great dungeon to clear out.
Now, GFE is coming up here to the basement, Zelda's dungeon here. He's trying to take some damage. Here's the problem. He has quite a few hearts. This has been a very healthy seed, plus blue mail. This is going to take some time to be able to death warp here, and he might accidentally kill his death warp means.
Has he used his fairy yet?
No, he hasn't. He's going to try to death warp.
He's going to try to death warp. We're going to get a fairy.
All for a shield. Wah, wah, wah.
Enjoy your extra life, sir.
He's like, oh, thanks. Like, that's just standing there is just being a little bit defeated. He's like, whatever.
That moment where you hold your head in your hand for about 15 seconds wondering how you forgot that. As Tstew is making his way through Eastern Palace, I was watching GFE's ferry recovery and I wasn't looking at the items there, so I'm not sure if we have anything from there yet. But we are going through a skeleton room right now. You can glitch out the skeletons in this room and actually clear out a couple of them without anything appearing on the screen. That will open the door. As we find the power glove.
Hey, so we do have Dark World access there. That'll be nice. Some cash and some cash. Wait, what was that hit?
That just was cash. So wherever it was, it was cash.
Cash me outside. How about that? No? Okay. Never mind.
I don't know. We do have in the back of Escape, we do have a $20 piece here. As Tstew now goes to get his key from under the pot, and GFE death warps again. As you mentioned with the blue mail, those death warps can take a long time to go through in a dungeon like the Hyrule Castle.
Meanwhile, Tstew is still working his way through this Eastern Palace. GFE is going to take dip his pinky toe here into Aghanim's Tower. Tstew rewarded.
A single arrow.
Yeah, that never feels good.
And GFE, as you mentioned, is making a play on Aghanim's Tower. Sometimes that first chest can have something, and usually it seems to have something. I'm going to say the hook shot. Well,
that is the opposite of something.
And he forgot that he doesn't have the key, so he drives out the door and decides, you know what, I'm just going to walk out. Tstew, meanwhile, is checking the back of Escape. We are going to get to see these three items back here today. In the back of Escape, we have 20 rupees, a piece of heart, and some blueberries.
Yep, so all the progression right now is in that power glove that we absolutely must get in Eastern Palace. Tstew is going to have Dark World access. Looks like he's going to be starting in this central part of the Dark World. We're going to get a hype cave check sub 20 minutes. Chat, get your guesses in. How hype is this hype cave going to be? Is it going to be dud? Is it going to be love? Is it going to be great? Is it going to be horrible? You never know with hype cave.
I will just say yes. That covers all the bases, I think.
That's not allowed. You can't just say yes.
We did have a Dark World map check. I didn't catch what it was at Swamp Palace. Hopefully, chat can help us out with that.
That was the
Green Pen. Oh yes, we knew that already, of course. And Tstew does go into Hype Cave, gets a bomb out, blows up the wall, gets the first item, which is just a key for Tower of Hera, which is now full clearable if we can get up there. We have a map for Eastern Palace. We have a fire rod. We have a piece of heart, and we have some more bombs. Vitasia, rate this Hype Cave.
Hey, that's, you know what? We have access now to the basement, which can absolutely be a trolley location. The fire rod is necessary for so many things. That's a solid 6 out of 10 Hype Cave.
Yep, I would definitely give Fire Rod a really good mark on that Hype Cave. So 6 out of 10 does sound like a good estimate to me as well.
All right, so Tstew is now going to be checking out what stump he has while GFE is going through the Eastern Palace. Now, in a straight line race, yeah, GFE is doing stuff that Tstew's already done, but remember, GFE has also already done all of the escape sequence. If we get to a point where we end up bumping into some resistance in terms of our item progression, Tstew's going to have to go back and do that anyway. Even though nothing was there, it's a very dense item location that Tstew's going to have to do eventually.
Tstew is going to go and check out the digging game here. Let's start digging. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're getting a few digs in today. We're up to 7 digs. And we're going to see eventually we can have up to 30 digs. The original game had a number of 15 digs to get, I think it was a piece of heart that was back here. We can go up to 30 digs in the randomizer. That was dig number 23 for a blue boomerang.
I'm always told that the blue boomerang is the best boomerang, but I've seen I saw a run just my last commentary where they were using the red boomerang in the same ways that the blue boomerang was used to maneuver around some ways, and it was still just as effective. So I'm a fan of both boomerangs.
I think the concern is mostly the leg sparkles causing a few extra frames or something along those lines. I personally am not a fan of using the boomerangs, so I wouldn't actually know. The cash, by the way, that we're talking about, both items in Misery Mire are money. So we don't have to worry about, assuming that there are no other items in Misery Mire, we know at least 2 items in Misery Mire are just cash and are therefore not important to us.
Well, 2 of the items. Keep in mind, there are also quite a few keys, and we also have dungeon items. So Misery Mire ends up being a little bit more beneficial. It's just the fire-locked items are going to be cash, is what that one hint told us. So, hey, left side of Mire, ignoring you completely.
Exactly.
All right, Tstew is going to be our first into really the Dark World proper. He has the Fire Rod. If he really wanted to, we can go defeat Mothula right now.
This actually is not too bad of a set for doing this with. He has the blue mail. He has a Master Sword, which is not fun, but still doable. He has 9 hearts, so he can just chug a little bit of medicine. Mothula could be done by many runners at this point, I would imagine. So wouldn't be a bad play if he chooses to do that. And he does get the red mail, so that makes it even beefier.
Now, here's something interesting about getting that Fire Rod early in that Hype Cave. GFE actually ended up finding the big key to Skull Woods in the escape sequence. So if he ends up going there and that big treasure chest ends up having some sort of progression, that's a bonus to GFE on top of something that Tstew hasn't done yet.
Agreed, and sometimes just having that one extra chest can be a huge advantage in a race. The last race I called, we had a runner who found the bow early, and we had another one who found the Fire Rod and Ice Rod, and both runners avoided the other items for quite some time, and it led to a really exciting race to see who was going to connect the dots first and find the missing item that the other runner already had.
No, but as expected, Tstew is going to be diving in here to Thieves Town. There are 8 treasure chests total in this place. Plus, you do have the big key that we found early on. We do not know if this is a crystal or a pendant, but we don't care because it's all dungeons, and we're going to have to do it anyway.
Exactly. Crystal and pendant doesn't matter in all dungeons. See, you might as well just finish the dungeon and take whatever you get. Of course, if you do, in this kind of scenario, I actually would not be minding seeing a pendant, because if we see the pendants early, then it suggests that the pedestal could be in play as well, and people, instead of checking the pedestal, you just go and blind pull it and get the item anyway.
We should note Tstew did just pick up the first key to the Palace of Darkness. Now, Palace of Darkness has 6 small keys required in it. There's a lot of locked doors that require keys, and a lot of runners will avoid going to Palace of Darkness until they have 2 or 3 or sometimes even 4 keys. So the fact that we just got our first one says quite a lot. We might be avoiding that dungeon for quite a while.
Meanwhile, we got our 3rd key for Turtle Rock. Well, we don't have Ice Rod, we don't have Asmara, we don't have... May not be going there for a while, we may not have the pendant either, but we already have 3 of the keys. That tells me that it may be coming into play sooner rather than later.
Yeah, that would make me a little bit nervous, but until I have access to Turtle Rock itself, I don't think I'm necessarily sweating too much.
Correct. A lot of items are needed for Turtle Rock, so just seeing a couple items doesn't necessarily mean anything. If you see everything show up early, ooh, start sweating. GFE looks like he might be making the catfish play here. He's heading in that general direction. TS2 is continuing through Thieves Town, making his way through this really ugly room. I'm personally not a fan of this room because it's really easy to soft lock in this room, and I have actually done it myself as well. You can hit an enemy in the wrong spot and completely trap yourself in there, and you have to save and quit to get out of there. A unique item is in the big chest of Swamp Palace. The question is whether that unique item is a red boomerang, or the silver arrows, or some kind of flute, or some other useful item like that.
Or the most awesome unique item in the entire game that is absolutely mandatory to complete, the bug net.
All hail the bug net. And we have 20 rupees in the chest where we blow up the sunshine spewing hole in the floor. And TS2 is going to head back downstairs.
Oh no, that's the 4th key to Turtle Rock.
Oh no.
So all 4 keys to Turtle Rock are in logic right now. That makes me very nervous right now.
I would almost be willing to bet at this point that Blind could have something like the Cane of Samaria on him, and we may not be able to do Tridex for a while if the Ice Rod is still deep somewhere. But if that Cane of Samaria shows up, and if Quake is the entry key to Turtle Rock, we could be heading up there at some point soon. I think we would still need the Titans bit as well to do that, though.
Yeah, I mean, we're still a long ways to go. I just don't like seeing all of these items in accessible locations. So we have literacy located in Thieves Town as well.
Oh, good. We can check the pedestal now.
Yay, goody. All right, so Tstew about to complete. I mean, Blind is a very scripted fight here, so I say we're about to complete it, but you know.
I tried to catch Fog, but I missed, says Blind. As TS2 begins the fight, knocks the first head off of the cloth, the second head appears, and Blind drops down the bottom as expected. TS2 seems to be, there he goes, he gets the second head off, the third head is about to appear, he charges a sword swing, a beam is fired from the face. TS2 swings the last 2 hits, and he is going to get his item from Blind with about 3.5 hearts left. The big key is for Swamp Palace, which, if not for the mirror, would probably, and the hook shot, would otherwise be completely available. They do have the, no, they don't have the flippers either. They can't go in there at all. We're still a ways away from getting into Swamp Palace, but we do have the keys for Swamp Palace, and with the water in place and with the flippers, we could otherwise do it right now.
I tell you what, if I had the flippers in the mirror, I think I would go there even without hookshot. Knowing that we got that key early and the big key, plus that hint that said a unique item is in the big treasure chest, something is telling me that Swamp Palace is a rock solid play once we get access there.
GFE is going through Skullwoods at this time. I have not seen anything too good in there yet, but he looks. I'm wondering if he's actually going to do the Mothula fight at this time. That would not be a bad play, as he picks up the key in the entrance area there, or the exit area, as we can call it. And it looks like he is indeed going up to the Mothula area. TS2 is following behind, going into the Skullwoods area right now. GFE has not done Thieves Town yet, so he will not pick up the literacy, and he will not know to do a pedestal check while he's up here. TS2 will get that extra bit of information, and that could be useful for him in if there is something interesting on the pedestal. He will have that information. GFE will not.
Except we don't have the mirror to get over there.
I guess that would be a problem.
That's a slight issue. I mean,
that would be a slight issue. Oh, he does the Death Warp after getting the item there.
So we see kind of differing strategies. GFE has gone straight to the back end of Skullwoods, so he's going to clear this out and then come to the front. Meanwhile, Tstew is starting in the front, and I don't know if he's going to go ahead and clear the back out or not. In Key Sanity, both are viable, I would say. Although, I mean, a lot of runners, especially if they're not running Key Sanity, will start in the back and come up to the front, much like GFE is. Tstew picking up that one treasure chest, which is the only key sanity chest that is locked. That is always going to be a key. They don't want to soft lock you.
Yep, it would otherwise lead to a soft lock situation sometimes if it was not a key. And you would have to save and quit out. You couldn't even, well, you could death warp, but who wants to death warp in a situation like that because you're not really able to leave the dungeon in any way if you fell in. And GFE is fighting the big overgrown moth in the back of Skullwoods. He is not doing too badly. He still has a lot of health there, but seems to be... That bug seems to be staying right on the outside edges there, but he gets in the middle and he does get killed. So GFE is going to be the first to take out Mothula and get the key to Ice Palace. Wah wah.
Yeah, there's... How many extra keys are there again in Ice Palace? There's a ton of them.
I think there's only... I think there might be... If I remember the numbers correctly, I think it's 3 keys you can normally find, maybe 4. But I think you only need like 1 or 2 of them most of the time.
Yeah, there's extras, it will say the least.
And TS2 is going to head back to the back of Skullwoods as well, as GFE is checking out the outer regions of Skullwoods and making his way back.
Yeah, while these two are kind of flip-flopping, I do want to give a shout-out to Dimensive, who's doing our tracking for us. Big thank you, keeping track of everything, making us look good, because, trust me, I can't keep track of everything, so thank you.
Yes, and also follow the runners as well. The runners are the ones putting on the show, so make sure you follow them as well. I'm sure they always love the support and the ability to chat with people while playing games.
All right, so they're flip-flopping. We're going to see Tstew has red mail, so that allows you to get a little bit more up close and personal with Mothula. Blue mail, Mothula and the spikes will both do 1 heart of damage, so it doesn't really matter. But with red mail, Mothula herself will only do half a heart damage, but the spikes will do the 1 full heart, so you really want to get up close and personal with her.
And the moth does go down for the 2nd time. Mothula is disposed of. Another key to Ice Palace found here for this time for TS2. And that's another crystal in the banks. I believe... I don't think we have noted what Thieves' Town was. Was Thieves' Town a pendant or a crystal today?
I thought it looked like a crystal when it fell, but I will be perfectly honest, I wasn't completely paying attention.
Again, we don't have the ability to do a map check without the maps in our possession today, so we have to watch as well what falls in the dungeon. We do know that Skullwoods was a crystal of some sort. We will see if we can get a look at the map for TS2 and find out later what that other item was that he picked up, so we can clear that up as well. GFE is heading to the C-shaped house right now, and he finds a compass back there, the Palace of Darkness compass.
All right, so GFE looks like he's going to be in this area. He also has the Thieves' Town big key, so I imagine he'll be sticking in the area to go ahead and do that. In the meantime, Tstew looks like he's might be heading up. Oh, that's a nice bomb drop.
Yeah, that's a nice bomb, a nice find for one of the tree pulls there. Some bombs to refill the inventory, which is already maxed out, so it doesn't really help much.
Now, this is kind of a risk. Tstew, there's only 2 guaranteed item spots that he can get up here, although you do get the save and quit spot from the old man. But we have the item that the old man gives you, and then the hit tile and the item location that's up here. So you get the sense that Tstew's kind of running out of ideas here.
Well, we have a map to tell us about the crystal in Skullwoods, at least.
this might come to the point where I think Tstew might be going over to the escape sequence here before too long. If nothing is up here, it looks like he's starting to run out of ideas on where to go. All right, so Tstew getting close to a hint tile. GFE is working his way through Thieves Town here.
And we do see that hint tile right behind a piece of heart, which itself might not be useful, but the hint tile certainly can be. A heart container in a chest requiring a specialist to unlock. That could be Gary's lunchbox, so that may be a possibility for an item we may not need to look for today.
I think that's the only treasure chest that a specialist is required to unlock.
I think so too, actually.
Yeah, so that's no need to do Gary's lunchbox sequence today. And here comes Tstew looking like he is going to be coming up here to do this sequence in the escape portion. Now, we still do not have a castle tower key that we've ever found, so can't quite do Aghanim 1 yet. So Tstew cannot do any additional things above and beyond what GFE has already done.
I'm just trying to think out loud as well. I don't think we can. Yeah, I know the Bombos tablet is not in play, even though he would be able to check it if he had a mirror. Tstew is doing the first chest in Aghanim play here, as he has no way to get through the dungeon. We know that there is no key in here at this point, not in the first chest. We find out again about the unique item in the big chest in Swamp Palace. That will come into play later once runners can get in there. They will want to know what is in there. But I think Tstew, as you said, is starting to run out of ideas here.
Yeah, I think the best play for these runners, based on the knowledge that we both have at this point in time and all of chat has, might be going over to Desert. We do have access to Desert Palace with the book, plus we have Agina's Cave, which has not been tapped yet. So that's Agina's Cave, plus the Desert Ledge, plus the treasure chest in Desert Palace. We can't get back. We can't get the big key. We don't have the big key at least. So it limits the viability there. But at this point, it's either that or a pod dip with only one pod key.
Well,
I'm doing Desert.
In my experience, I seem to find, and I've watched a lot of seeds where at least one, sometimes two of the keys are hiding in Palace of Darkness. It would be absolutely nasty if, in this situation with running out of places to go, there were a couple keys hiding in there. Now, one of them could be hiding in Desert Palace, of course, or even on Agina, and that would open up at least a couple more chests that could be checked. But it would be absolutely evil if those keys show up in there in some way.
Yeah, it'll be real interesting that we're lining up for a very linear sort of seed. GFE finds his literacy right there. Tstew did just see the big key for Skullwoods. It'll be interesting if he goes out of his way to go back there, or if he goes and follows the trail over to the desert.
And Tstew is currently heading down to the basement of Hyrule Castle. The guard at the end doesn't really have a chance against the hammer. Gets one lick in, but that's about it. And the big key of this dungeon, thank you very much, as he picks up his shield.
Yep, so where is Tstew going to go now? I mean, he's starting in Link's house, so that's at least a good news there. Is he going? He's heading in the direction of the desert.
I think he's going there.
Very clean fight by GFE. Got the zero cycle, never dropped down. Found the big key to Swamp Palace that we know. So yeah, and it does look like Tstew is heading over to the desert. This is probably the play, unless, like you said earlier, it's that nasty pod play where there's some pod small keys located just on the inside of the dungeon.
Yeah, if those first couple chests have the keys, but even so, you would still want to see at least 3 pod keys before you even make any kind of gamble on that, because most of the time you can check some chests and get those keys back by not saving and quitting, and then just go back later to finish it off. But chances are you're going to want to have several keys to get in there so you can try and clean it out at once if you can.
Chat also pointing out an additional location that would be a little rough for these runners right now. Oh, we have big key to
Desert Palace. I think Desert Palace can be cleared now.
It can be cleared. Yes, it can absolutely be cleared. Now we don't have the small key to Desert Palace.
Correct.
So if your choice is either clear Desert Palace or steal a key to get the treasures.
But I have a feeling we're going to see I didn't catch the item on the ledge, but we are going to see him go after land, or TS2 go after land moles at this time. I don't see any reason for him to put this off because we do have a fire source. He can at least get that taken care of, and at least get the pendant or crystal, whichever it turns out to be, we don't know yet, into his possession.
Items, though. Items.
We do need some items.
I do believe that was just a map on the ledge, so he's probably not going to go and get that. It'll be interesting to see what all we see here from Tstew. Oh my goodness. This is... Would you steal the key in this case? What would you do?
Well, you can, in theory, soft reset and avoid burning the key in this case, so it really is a tough call. If you do the key burn and you find that there is a very important item in there, the Swamp... Well, thank you, game. The Swamp Palace big key is on a boss. We figured that out. Yeah, if you can steal the key, check the 2 chests. If you don't find anything good in there, just reset, come back, and do it again. But it does cost a little time to get back there since we don't have loot. But it is, of course, an option that can be considered, and they can then know that they've got the dungeon clear without having to come back for those items.
And hey, that big treasure chest did lead itself. It did give us a second pod small key, so that makes it more tolerable to be able to go over to Palace of Darkness if that's what we indeed need to do.
It's still disgusting, but at least it's a little better on the palate in this case.
I mean, we went from like liver and onions disgusting to like reheated hamburger helper disgusting. Like, not quite as bad.
Reheated hamburger helper.
But not great still.
Just needs to clear out the area in Desert Palace. Looks like he's making his way back there to the lair of the triple Landnola snakes. As GFE is going upstairs, looks like inside Spectral Rock, he's going to get the clue as well that was in there, and the piece of heart as well.
Yep, I mean, Key Sanity just tends to be pretty linear. I mean, I've not seen a whole lot of seeds that really opened up into the world and says, here you go, here is your playground. It just doesn't seem to happen that way because of the keys.
And TSW now fighting the snakes. Looks like one of them did go on the first cycle. The second one goes on the second cycle. I have a feeling this third one's going to go on the third cycle. So not a bad fight from TS2. He does clear out the snakes, and he is getting the Titans Mitt. He gets the Titans.
Oh, man. Okay, so that tells us logically the small key does not require the Titans Mitts. I bet you the small key to Desert Palace is somewhere over in the Palace of Darkness.
That would not... Oh, the flute.
Oh!
Spike Cave gives up the flute. That is a very interesting find as well.
That was out of... Was that out of logic? I mean, he has the cape and the hammer. No half magic and...
Yeah, he doesn't have the cane of Burna.
Logic, yeah.
I think the logic accounts for the cape. I could be mistaken on that. I know the cane of Burna is definitely part of the logic for that. I think the cape is as well, but I think it does require half magic in the logic. So that could very well be a sequence break.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's my understanding that it's cape and bottle is magic extension. Okay, Recitador is saying, so the bottles are telling us that it is within logic. So GFE with the flute right now, but Tstew with, man, that is significant with the Titans Mitt upgrade. Man, I don't know whose shoes you'd rather be in right now.
We did miss the Sweaty Duck National Anthem on GFV's side. We will get another opportunity on TS2's side eventually. But on GFV's side, the duck has flown off, and it's already flown back in to pick him up. Off to the witch's hut to buy some potions. He doesn't have the mushroom yet, so he can't turn that in.
See, here's what I think. I think the world is opened up so much to Tstew right now with that Titansmiths being open that, well, I guess not a ton is actually opened up. Theoretically, a bunch of stuff is opened up for him, but logically, not a lot is it?
You would think that immediately about Dark World Death Mountain, but of course the problem is that we still need the hook shot to get up there. We can't use the mirror to get up on the one side yet, so we can't even work our way around the long way to get to that side yet. Without either the hook shot or the mirror, Death Mountain still is not a very palatable play at this time. So, yeah, he's already done 2 of the Dark World dungeons near the Village of Outcasts. He could theoretically go to Ice Palace if he wants to fake Flipper, but then we are looking again at a sequence break. We can flute to Misery Mire, see what the pendant is, because we have a flute on GFE's side. We may not be able to get in.
Well, and GFE is showing us one of those crazy plays, Zora, that we completely forgot about, and our tracker is just informing us that also, oh my god.
Whoa! The Zora King... The Zora King is confirmed to be vain today.
You're so vain, you probably think this seed is about you.
But that is a vanity lesson today.
Man. Yeah, that's huge. That opens up left side. That opens up Death Mountain, east side of Death Mountain. That's significant here. Our tracker, I was going to say, our tracker just informed us that actually Desert Palace was actually one of the 5-6 crystals. So we have logical access to both 5-6 crystals right now.
I think TS2 has them both too. Pyramid Fairy, because he can go get the Super Bomb at this point, is available.
I mean, here's the thing. That is so out of the way because we went up there, both runners went up there without the money to do so. GFE is the first one that went up there to make that second check. I don't know when Tstew, like, it will have to come to a point when Tstew has nowhere else to go. But man, he has so much open up to him right now. I don't know when he goes up there.
And he may have been waiting to go up there in the first place until he got the mirror so he could do Catfish and then go to Zora. We don't know if that's what he normally does. So I'm just throwing spitballs against the wall here when I say that. But that could very well be the idea he had in mind, and he's never going to get the mirror to be able to make the play that way. So if that's what his plan is, it's not going to happen because he has to go up there to get the mirror in the first place.
And the hint just said, the big key of Evil's Bane is in Ganon's Tower. We actually get to play the Ganon's Tower big key guessing game.
There you go, chat. We're going to get to play the big key guessing game later, so look forward to that. Not a regular sight in Key Sanity, but we're going to get to today.
I should not be that excited about getting to play the game, but I really am.
I think chat's more excited than we are, to be honest with you.
All right, so Tstew is here. He has one key, a big key to Eastern Palace. Oh my.
But still no bow, so we still can't finish that. The big chest is available though, and imagine if that bow was in there.
Tstew is getting into a situation here in Key Sanity that you don't necessarily want to find yourself in. It happens from time to time, but you try to
interrupt. But we have a Castle Tower key in Tower of Hera, so that is turning into something we could be looking at. Probably not in this case, but it is there.
And the Cane of Samaria is in Desert Palace. That was another hint.
I think that's behind the desert key. That so in that case, stealing the key would make sense. Except then you're looking around forever for that key to get back to Lamolus later. So,
oh man, this seed has opened up quite a bit now, hasn't it?
I would say it has. It was looking very linear for quite a while there, but we're getting a couple of hints. The lamp is in Cat Creek. Well, thank you, game. We knew that one already, but thank you. Yeah, we're starting to get a few more hints to open the game up quite a bit now. So a lot more is becoming possible with the items where we know where those items are. Of course, one of the problems is we still have to get the keys in some cases to get those items. But once we find those keys, we can go straight to those items and do what we need to with those items.
There was that small key to this dungeon you were talking about earlier. There is another pod small key in pod, along with that big 3 that Tstew just found. He has the rupees now for Zora. He might be inclined to go check that.
It looks like Tstew is heading into the Dark Maze right now, where GFE is taking on the Moldorm fight. Looks like he is utilizing the hammer and a spin strat. So the spin strat, second spin takes out the worm, and the worm is going to provide, well, just its heart. And the item dropping from the sky is a crystal. So we do have another crystal in the banks for Moldorm today.
Tstew also just picked up the ice rod and the flippers.
Well, that opens up Swamp Palace now.
I mean, okay, so that was actually a really profitable Palace of Darkness. Even going in there with only 2 keys, you found a third that was back there. GFE also now has 2 pod keys. It'll be interesting to see if he ends up going back there at some point. But more importantly, he has access to this east part of Death Mountain. This is just big. And the Ether Medallion on the floating island.
Oh,
wow.
My.
Okay, so here's... Oh, Tstew is... He's not going to Zora. He's going right to Ice Palace.
Ice Palace. This is actually... Yes, I think he would be able to actually clear this. This is actually a play I'm okay with.
A unique item and a compass require the big red bomb, so...
Pyramid Fairy, please! This would be the 3rd time in only about 6 calls the Pyramid Fairy is required. This is kind of freaky.
Just go with it. Just when Pyramid Fairy is required, when the seed opens up and goes all sorts of nutty, just let it happen. Everyone will be much happier.
I agree. And there's the very useless burrito for Ganon's Tower. A little soggy, if you ask me. And maybe a little chilled.
Double compass so far in Paradox Cave. Ew.
Yeah. And let's see what's in the back of Paradox Cave. A 3 mini Moldorm fight. 2 fall very quickly. He ignores the 3rd one for now. A 3rd compass. Oh, gosh. Some money. A heart. A hit from the mini Moldorm. A slash to the chest, and then we have a key to Thieves Town. There's the hammer chest in play, and more money.
Oh man, I don't. This is getting nervous. Now we do know logically that the small key to Desert Palace cannot underlined exclamation point cannot be on Dark Death Mountain because of those Titan Smiths being locked in Desert Palace itself. That means that nothing that the Titan Smiths locks can possibly contain the other small key.
That's correct. If it did, otherwise it would not be possible in that case, depending on whether the first Power Glove was picked up, to get to that Titan Smith otherwise.
All right, so GFE is in Desert Palace now. We'll see what he ends up deciding to do. Tstew still making his way through here. Ice Palace.
And he's going to do this very complicated room to get the chest out of here. Some runners starting the game don't realize that there is a chest in this room because it is very well hidden in the maze of confusion that this room has in it. But this chest turns out here to have a key for Castle Tower, so there is our second Castle Tower key today. Aghanim can be completed, though at this point I don't think we're going to need it for progression purposes because we can already get to the pod area.
Well, we can get to the pod area, but remember, there's another treasure chest that is back there. So you have the keys now. You're going to have to do it at some point. That is something that I've found in Key Sanity. If you're doing an all dungeon Key Sanity, if you need to clear your head, stop and think about what you have. You can do the Aghanim fight that you need to when at any point in time, clear your head, let it come to you. It's cool. Also, GFE. Oh, I feel bad for him. He's coming out here to do, and he's getting ready to get the Desert Palace big key right now. And he's already been to Desert Palace.
And there you go.
He's just kind of sitting there like, really? Really?
You had to love his reaction there. He looks to the left, looks to the right. Okay. What now? Do I have to go back there?
I do enjoy that, you know, we try to read the emotions of a 16-bit animated characters. Like we're not empaths, I swear. We're trying to interpret a lot here.
I think we just saw a duplication of hints here. Did we not already get a hint back in Spectral Rock that the Swamp Palace Big Chest has a unique item?
We did already get that one.
We have the exact same hint in Ice Palace. Exact same hint, if I read that correctly.
That's interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen duplicate hints. That must mean it's extra important.
Chad is confirming it's a duplicate hint. And yeah, I have a feeling that could be an important item if we were being told about twice here. They don't want us to miss it. And the big chest in Desert Palace is the key to Dark Palace, which I think you mentioned earlier. I think we found that already. And TS2 is heading down to the lower floor. Big chest we'll deal with later.
All right, so Tstew looks like he's going to be going up. He's going to be getting, I believe, the iced tea room. He looks committed to full clearing that. Oh, no, he's getting health.
Oh, that works.
GFE is also going to go ahead and clear out Landmo. He is not going to be stealing the key, which is good news for him because the items that he ended up getting between that mirror and the flute make that Titansmith much more attractive than Tstew, who is utilizing them to the best of his abilities here in Ice Palace, but really hasn't found a whole lot, has he?
No, it's looking like Ice Palace is not really proving to be a very good play right now. I haven't seen anything of worth here. But he does drop in. Coldstare can still save the day for him here, as Coldstare is freed from the prison, or Krakow, as some of us who are Kirby fans like to call him. The eyes do get separated. This makes the fight very dangerous, as now we have 3 floating eyes and all the dropping ice from above, and a lot of damage from each of these things. Though with Red Mail, it's not as bad. TS2 is having a hard time getting those eyes out. Trying to spin slash 2 at a time if he can, but he keeps taking hits. He's running out of health, down to 3 hearts. One eye does go down, so now there's 2 left. He does not get hit by that ice. I thought he did. Took another hit there, however. Still attacking the 2 remaining eyes. As GFE picks up a crystal, by the way, from Desert Palace from Landmola, so he now has that crystal. The second eye is destroyed on TS2's side. The third eye is destroyed. He just has to dodge. Nope, no more ice cubes. And we finally get a key for Ganon's Tower, which we only need about 1 or 2 of those anyway. Red Pendant is the reward for Ice Palace.
And I was nervous for him, but I think he still has his fairy, so he would have been all right. Meanwhile, GFB does have his Titan's mitts, and he is putting those immediately to work. He's going to check this Meyer shed area right away.
I think this is a new item for us, so we should see what these are. 2 items in the Meyer shed, and he's using the mirror to push the blocks out of the way in a convenient fashion, or at least that one. Piece of heart. Well, 2 pieces of heart. Not a very useful check.
No, not at all. Tstew looks like he's setting up to go back into the dark world. I don't know where he goes at this point. He's going to turn the big bomb in, I think.
And this is the play, because we know there is a unique item here. We have to rule out whether it's a shovel or whether it's a boomerang or whether it's something like the bow or even a medallion. So lots of possibilities to be at play here. He might be thinking it's the flute as well, but we know it is not. We're going to find out in about 60 seconds, however, just what is on that pyramid fairy today.
We did get a peek at Misery Meyer as well. It is Quake, so GFE could have opened it up, but he does not have either the hookshot or the boot, so couldn't really do much in there.
Yeah, why waste the time when you have to come back later anyway? I actually don't mind that at all.
All right, so get your guesses in chat. What's going to be the unique item? We know there's going to be one unique item. What's it going to be? Get your guesses, guys.
I'm going to go with the bow just because I like that.
Oh!
Silvers! Well, that's acceptable.
It's nice! Not thrilling, but nice. I think my biggest issue right now with that is that we don't have a bow, so it's kind of an empty, unique item.
Well, that is very true, and obviously if we had the bow, we could fire the arrows we have right now, which would be a lot more useful. But at the same time, those are silver arrows, and when we do find the bow, that will make not only the Ganon fight a lot easier, but any remaining fights where certain bosses are weak to the silver arrow and other enemies as well a lot easier.
So Tstew is hunting around here. Looks like he's going back to the sewers. I thought he already got this item. If he has, we'll get the info relatively quickly, but I think he's worried about missing some items or at this point. He's might be a little lost.
If I recall, I don't think the item back here was anything useful. I think it was just something like 20 rupees or something like that. Let's find out again. I was right, 20 rupees. And GFE is going through the... Well, the thief managed to bump into him, so he's going to get a few goodies for himself that GFE no longer has. Going into Thieves' Town. So it looks like he is going to check that hammer chest because he does already have blind defeated. So there's just that one chest blocked by the hammer, and we're going to get to have our first look at what is in that chest today. What do you think is in there, Vatasia?
I don't know. I worry that it's just a key. It does look like Tstew has remembered. He has a Zora to do. This is going to be huge for Tstew.
If you want to read runner reactions, let's see what happens when Zora gives him the mirror. That will be a reaction to read.
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned because, 3 pod keys is acceptable to dive into pod. GFE is doing this instead of going to Palace of Darkness, which we know has quite a bit of value here. I don't know if I get this. It's a low percent play, which, he's lived on up to this point in time. Zora, Spike Cave. I don't know about this one.
Well, here comes the mirror from Zora, and he stares at it for a moment, picks it up, slashes a few times. Yeah, he's not happy.
Yeah, just a big 20 in that treasure chest down in Thieves' Town. So, all right, Tstew. Yeah, Tstew's going up Tower of Hera, which is... will lead to some good things for him. Tower of Hera into the east side of Death Mountain. He'll be able to do the dark side of Death Mountain, get Super Bunny Cave. Will not be able to do Hookshot Cave quite yet, though.
Yeah, we still need the hook shot. We can bonk to the first chest in that, but we can't get all the way through it. So he can get the first chest in Hookshot Cave if he wants to. Otherwise, it may be more beneficial to try and get as many chests as he can up here, and hopefully come back to Hookshot Cave later.
We don't have the boots, so we can't even bonk.
Oh, I didn't even catch that. I'm used to having the boots by the time we get up here.
I know, right? I mean, this feels like a bootless seed at this point in time, which would be horrible and great, and just another big 20 for GFE.
And just bombs off the ether tablet.
I don't know if GFE got the hint that it is a worthless purple chest check. So he may be doing that here before too long.
He is in the vicinity. It is very possible he could decide to do that. I know one of our runners got that hint. I want to say it was TS2. I am not... Oh, okay. Apparently, according to chat, he did get the purple chest hint, and sure enough, he is leaving the purple chest behind. So it looks like it was GFE who got the hint. I didn't think both of our runners got the hint, so maybe chat can correct me on that, whether I'm correct on that or not. I think only the GFE got that hint, but it's possible TS2 might have gotten it at some point as well.
All right, so GFE looks like he's going to be checking these other etc. mirror spots. K45 at this point. Meanwhile, Tstew is climbing Tower of Hera.
And it turns out both did get the hint. So in K45, we just have a map. We're not even going to see what that map is for. Not a lot of options left for it.
It's funny, when Tstew got the Titan's mitts and GFE got the mirror, if you would have told me, well, Tstew ended up going to Palace of Darkness and getting the flippers and the ice rod almost right away. If you would have told me that GFE wouldn't have gone to Pod before Tstew got the mirror, I don't know if I would have believed you, just because of everything else that was unlocked for Tstew.
That's how Randomizer works. Every day you see something new, something strange, and that's what the beauty of the whole thing is.
So a question in chat from Fang, Bandit Fox, why is it called K45? Simply, when the game was originally developed, the lists of item locations were listed, and that was literally just like Cave 1, Cave 2, Cave 3, and that was K45. For no other reason other than that.
And not to advertise any specific person, but I believe the maps in question, if you want to see the correct map for that, I believe the map was created by someone named Ian Albert. I think it's his map. And if you were to Google and find the maps that he has done, it will show a 45 over the cave in question. That's why we call it Cave 45.
Yeah, I mean, it's a silly reason, but we embrace it as a community because, of course, we do.
And TS2 is heading towards the Turtle Rock area. I think he's going to see what the Turtle Rock pendant is for us. So this is our first look at this, according to my information. He is taking a look at the item on the ledge as well. He does see Ether up there. Nope, he's turning away from Turtle Rock. Interestingly enough, he could have opened it up and found out what it was, but I guess he doesn't want to do that yet.
Yeah.
GFD is going to get his silver arrows from the Pyramid Fairy. He is carrying a very active big bomb behind him.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be probably the same as we were. Happy-ish to see that.
Just against Tower of Key at the end of the Spiral Cave.
I think Tstew is also going to be the first one to really show us as well the Super Bunny Cave, because he will have access to the Dark World. Oh, GFE is Getting some blue potions.
And he releases the bee, which goes and takes a look at the big fairy's face, which that's actually kind of funny to see.
Yeah, I didn't realize that spawned as an enemy for that purpose. That's interesting.
Yes, he was cleaning out the 7 chests in this cave. We recall there was not... well, I want to say there was an item up here. I forget what that item is by now. I know there were a couple hearts or rupees and things like that. Let's see again what is up here. Nope, just a key, and that was the Thieves' Town key.
So GFE only has one of the castle tower keys at this point. The other one was locked, I believe, behind the flippers. So GFE is going to be just checking to see what's in this treasure chest. Man, he is making all the low percent plays. He's avoiding pod like the plague and gets another pod small key. Let that be a hint, GFE. Go to pod.
There's your hint. Get to pod. Quickly. Quickly, I say.
All right, here's Tstew going to be showing us Super Bunny Cave here directly. And GFE, thank you, finally going to pod. I was about to reach through my screen. I was like, just go to pod. Oh. Tstew finding the hook shot in Super Bunny Cave.
Beautiful.
Right before Hookshot Cave. That's a spicy meatball right there.
Well, that does open up the pretty much all of Death Mountain at this point, and Hookshot Cave.
That also makes Swamp Palace super attractive right now.
Delicious Swamp Palace. Yes, Swamp Palace is a very good play now that they have all the items for that. And it's done again. It's all dungeons. They have to clear it, so they can just go take it out and not have to go back later, because I think they have everything they need to clear it out completely.
Oh, and there's the big key to Turtle Rock.
And Turtle Rock will soon be in play too. It looks like the King of Samaria is still needed for that, however, so we're not going to go there quite yet.
So if I'm reading my logic right, so I mean, I'm going to guess, because we're still missing that desert small key. And we do know that the King of Samaria has to be on that left side or on that right side based on the hint. So I'm trying to think of the logic that says...
You just had a hint there. Yeah, that was a hint for the King of Samaria. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, so we gotta think, at this point in time, doesn't the Desert Palace small key have to it can't be in the back half of Swamp Palace right now, because the hook shot is locked behind the Titan's Mitts. So at this point, it's got to be in the front half and the first few keys that we get in Swamp Palace. Because we've already cleared out pod. I think everywhere else we go, we haven't found it.
And I think we were still missing it. I don't think we've seen all 6 keys for pod yet, so I wonder if it could still be somewhere at the back of pod, like on Helmassar King. Otherwise, Swamp Palace would be a very good place at this point to find it, and that would help tie the logic back together very quickly. The big key from Mr. Meyer showing up in pod, so that was a new item. There's your Begnet.
Yeah, he used the potion glitch right now. He skipped a key door. He potion glitched his way through.
That means this is another sequence break. We didn't have the bow to get back here.
All right, so GFE is going to be running around here. We'll see what he ends up deciding to do. Is he going to bomb here? Is he going to spend the key? He doesn't know.
He is really thinking about this. Yep, he's
doing it. I mean, he really thought long and hard about that. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that was a good 5 or 10 seconds that he thought about it. Will it pay off? What is in the chest? The Desert Palace small key. There it is. We can get the Cane of Samaria.
Okay, so it was... Ooh, that was not in Desert Palace. Okay. This is gonna get spicy here, guys. GFE has the small key to Desert Palace, which we know has the Cane of Samaria locked behind it, and that was in the vanilla big key location in Desert Palace. Not a lot of people check that. Combine that with the fact that he also has the flute, which was in Spike Cave. Again, those low percent plays GFE is doing, they are just doing wonders for him right now.
And sometimes doing things off the beaten path is literally what it takes to play Randomizer. You can play against any big name seed like the Andes or the Vtorps or the Christos and do all these low percent plays that they would put off until later, and you can actually beat them just by making those kinds of plays and for them actually paying off. Anyone can win a seed any day just by making the right play at the right time.
Absolutely. And I think that's part of the strategy for GFE. If you know that your execution is maybe a little bit below what your competitors is, you make the low percent plays because that's your best shot to win. GFE's been doing that, and it has paid off. Very well done, GFE, up to this point in time. I wouldn't say he's in the driver's seat quite yet, but man, he's in a great spot.
Well, he is clearing out what he can of boots. Boots were the unique item that we knew about. It was a pair of boots in the Swamp Palace big chest.
So yeah, those boots, I mean, every speedrunner likes to go fast, and that's going to just compound the more and more that Tstew ends up going through here. GFE still has, I mean, I think he's set in terms of keys.
Yeah, he does have 5 keys registered. I know there's a doorway that you don't have to open in order to fully clear Palace of Darkness. The question is if he's already opened that doorway. That's what I don't know about.
Well, I mean, he did a double, yeah.
Here it is. Here's the doorway right there. He's going to skip that doorway in the top left of this room to get across and get his clippers from the big chest. He'll get the 2 items up there, and he can save that last key and just go straight down to Homosar King, except he doesn't have the bow yet, so he can't really do that yet.
Yeah, it's perfect for GFE. I mean, he's setting everything up just right. And he gets another key to Skullwoods. He is exiting out. Flippers unlocks quite a bit for him, though.
They do. He is obviously going to be able to go to Swamp Palace once he can find that hookshot himself. And I have the hookshot node as being in Super Bunny Cave. I'm just seeing what else he might need here. I think that's about it for that cave, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I think the first thing he's going to do is going to turn in, which is, I mean, I would have gone through the back end to avoid this cutscene, but he's going to the left side of Desert to get that Cane of Samaria, since he knows it's there.
Yeah, no question he's here for the Cane of Samaria right now. He's going to go, I think it's actually on the right side that the locked door is, that the Cane of Samaria would be in that area.
Right.
So he's going to be heading over to the right side as Tstew does take out the bundle of, well, the nice, lovely calamari in Swamp Palace. I don't know if you want to consume that calamari, but he does get the pendant, it looks like, out of Swamp Palace, and that opens the Sahasrara item. I can never say that name. There is also a sword inside the locked area of Desert Palace, so getting a sword and a Cane of Samaria in one fell swoop. And
that's amazing. And I tell you what, so he's going to be able to go up to, because he hasn't done Dark Death Mountain yet, he's going to go up there, he'll get the hook shot if he does Dark Death Mountain. Combine that with the fact that he'll be able to do Dark Death Mountain, and he can even take a dip into Turtle Rock now that he has the Cane of Samaria, if he wants to do that.
Yes, that the Turtle Rock now being open does help. I'm just trying to see if he has all the keys for that. He has all the keys for Turtle Rock as well. He doesn't have the big key yet. I think the big key I'm trying to remember where the big key was because we did see it at some point. Because TS2 did pick up that big key. I just forget exactly where it was. I think it was in Swamp Palace somewhere, if I'm not mistaken. Once GFE does find that big key, he can do Turtle Rock completely at this point.
Oh, and here's the unfortunate part. He's going right here into Swamp Palace, which he won't be able to clear because we know where the hook shot is. Maybe he's thinking that hook shot is going to be in the big treasure chest because he did get the double hint as well. It's going to be the boots, so that'll save him some time in that instance.
He did get the hint for the unique item in Swamp Palace as well, so he will get those boots there.
Yeah, but he's not going to be able to go into the back because he has not yet gotten the hook shot.
Correct. I think he just wants to know what the unique item is and rule out the possibility that it could be the hook shot. I think that's what he's most interested in right now.
That's not necessarily a bad play. Especially, yeah. Okay, I can understand this. Did Tstew do left side of swamp? I don't think so.
I don't know if I saw him on the left side of the swamp myself. So I don't know if we had a hint somewhere that we might have missed that said there was nothing there, or if this is just one of those gambles that somewhere in the zoo that left side swamp is not anything of interest.
So in the meantime, Tstew is going to be cleaning up some of these overworld locations that GFE has already done. So at this point, GFE is kind of on pace and in line to do everything that Tstew has that he hasn't done. But when is Tstew going to do what GFE has done in terms of getting the flute that is way out of the way, and then that small key? My gosh, I don't think he's going back to pod until he has the bow.
Having already been to Palace of Darkness, I know not a lot of runners like to make the double dip until they're absolutely sure they can finish it. Triple dips are even worse. So the fact that he's already visited there does suggest that he may not go back there for quite some time, even though he does now have 4 Palace of Darkness keys collected. And he did find the one that was in there. I think he said there was one in there that he already found as well. So even though we know that that is the right play right now, I don't think he's going to go do it.
No, and you see, he's down to these, one-off plays. We know that there's nothing already down here. Tstew's already made that, or GFE's already made this play down here into the basement of Thieves Town. He's looking for something. He's scratching his head, I think.
I think he's just going to the hammer chest. GFE already got this, and we know that it was not anything we want to see. But I don't think TS2 actually picked it up yet, so I think he's clearing that out and making sure that it's not where his item is.
Yeah, and chat pointing out, that desert key was from the castle tower, which Tstew hasn't seen any inclination to go towards at all.
I'm just looking on GFE's side. I think he flooded the key. Unless he picked it up and I didn't see him pick it up.
Oh no, he does not have a key. Oh, well, he doesn't have to get it right at the moment.
Or unless that was a different key and he actually did get that key before returning to the room to flood it. I didn't notice if he picked up that key or not. Actually, he doesn't have hook shot, so yeah, he can't really flood the key because he doesn't have the hook shot anyway, I guess.
Yeah, so he is going to do left side. Left side, I haven't seen a hint about left side swamp. We saw left side everything else. So fire shield.
We have a shield, so yep, there's one semi-unique item. Not that we really need that one.
And see, here's where GFE's routing is going to be a little bit more interesting. Tstew is now doing all of these one-off locations, and he's traveling around trying to find something. We had mentioned earlier that, when you're in a key sanity, these one-off locations are really the danger because they can really stretch out your run quite a bit.
GFE finds nothing of interest on the left side swamp, the last time being a map for Thieves Town. Yay, a map for a dungeon we've already completed. We at least can find our way around now. But not really what we wanted. We are getting a quick look at the map on TS2's side. We did see the blue pendant is sitting at Misery Mire, so at least we know where that is now, and we know the rest of the dungeons at this time are crystals.
Oh, and we see GFE actually looks like he's going to be doing a Misery Mire play. Having the boot, I mean, has everything to go ahead and do it. So, why not?
Yeah, might as well give it a shot and see if there's anything in here that we need. I think, I know that we did see a hint that 2 items were just money, so there won't be that many items in here, but you never know, there could be something in here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of treasure chests, and even if the 2 that are locked behind the fire are only money, I mean, you avoid those, and you do everything else.
Exactly, we don't have to worry about that fire lock area at all today. And 20 rupees in the... Was that the Graveyard Ledge, or was that King's Tomb? Let me see where he comes out here.
King's Tomb.
That was the tomb.
And chat pointing out Bo can absolutely be in Mire, so this would be something. I mean, depending on where everything is, Tstew might be in trouble.
It is absolutely possible both could be in Mire. It would actually be insulting if it comes off of Vitreous directly, but that is a possibility. It could be here.
Shula Rune asks, why is everyone picking all dungeons anyway? We speculated about that a little bit early. We can't say for certain why people are picking all dungeons, but remember, with the format of this tournament, the higher seated person, so Tstew in this case is the higher seated individual, picked this particular seed set. The speculation at this point in time is that the runners want to pick an all dungeon run because if you have to clear everything, your execution will play a more prominent role in it. And if you're the higher seed, theoretically, you have the better execution. So you want to let that carry you and get that first win in the tournament. Again, pure speculation at this point, but that's the educated guess that we've come up with.
Yes, it is pure speculation, and yes, it is very common that execution could be the reasoning behind why that is selected. I do know a lot of the first rounds have, as Vitation may have mentioned, a lot of the first rounds in these groups have been on all dungeon Cs, whether it's in all dungeons key sanity, whether it's in all dungeons standard, open mode, however it is done. They have to do all the dungeons, and this means that there's no advantage for making the right play and being able to avoid 2 pendant dungeons where the higher executing runner might be able to get those 2 pendant dungeons and lose because of it. You have to do all the dungeons anyway. That's where execution can definitely play a role.
Tstew is about to pick up his flute. And
we're going to get to hear the Swag Duck Anthem very soon because we completely missed it when GFE did it and noted it, but that was all we did. And I am still watching to see if GFE's already been through here, so this is a return trip. TS2 is heading straight to Kakariko Village, so he is definitely going to be activating the Swag Duck at this time. So ladies and gentlemen, to honor Hyrule, please rise and listen to the Swag Duck Anthem. And ladies and gentlemen, the loon was swooned.
There's no response I have to that. So GFE is actually going back and getting the rupees, even though we know that it's just money back here. I don't know if he got that hint then.
I think both runners might have gotten the hint, but I may be mistaken on that. Oh, according to chat, he did forget the hint.
Well, I mean, Tstew is going to be able to complete at least dip into Misery Mire at this point in time if he wants to. The interesting thing is he won't be able to complete it because no cane. GFE is the only one who's going to be able to complete it, so I don't know if Tstew's actually going to dip until he finds the cane.
Tower of Hera Big Key in a Sage's Closet. Thank you, game. 5 rupees to checkerboard chest location, and this chest has 20 rupees.
Oh, and Tstew doesn't have the big key either for Misery Mire. Where was that big key for Misery Mire?
I have not been noting all the big key locations, so I apologize. I don't remember where that is myself. Hopefully chat can help us out with that.
Right side of pod. That's right.
Yes, and that's where the small key for Desert Palace is in pod as well. So there is some decent progression for Tstew if he does get back to pod, but I don't think he's going to... Oh, I take that back. He's going there right now, and he's going to get those lovely keys right now.
He's going to get the lovely keys. Yeah, that's going to be pretty significant. He's also, because he did complete Swamp Palace, which is our green pendant, he's going to make a quick visit here to Shamalama Ding Dong.
Well, he's going to bonk on the roof first, but he'll give that another go. And the old man's gift for the hero today is a key for Misery Mire. There's the hint for the next location.
That's... And, okay, he's going back to Desert Palace, or to Palace of Darkness. This is actually pretty significant. I thought it'd be a lot longer before he would come back here.
Yep, I think he might just be running out of ideas at this point. He has cleared, it looks to my count, 6 dungeons at this point. Misery Mire, I can't talk now. Misery Mire and Turtle Rock are both still needed by both runners. Eastern Palace and Palace of Darkness, neither can clear those as well. He's actually slightly ahead in terms of the dungeon clears because I see only 4 dungeons cleared on GFE's side. GFE, of course, is getting Misery Mire done right now, though, and that is a bit of an advantage in terms of the actual progression, but he's going to have to go back and do a couple of... there's the Ice Palace Big Key, which you don't really need. But he's going to have to go back and do a couple of dungeons later. Thieves Town and... Thieves Town is not... Or no, Swamp Palace is not done yet, and Ice Palace is not done yet. And TS2 does get his Desert Palace map. Not that that's really a hint of anything in Eastern Palace. He's going to make his way back to Palace of Darkness now, I believe. And get the Desert Palace item that we do need. No! What is he doing? He is going to Death Mountain. This is a very interesting play on his part.
Yeah, I don't know...
According to chat, they're saying the bow is confirmed in Turtle Rock. I'm attempting to piece together the logic that confirms this. I think it's because he's cleaned out the chests that he... Well, all of the Eastern Palace chests. He hasn't gone back into pod, so theoretically could still be in pod. Actually, no, he did go back into pod. I think. I'm just trying to compare the items here.
He went back into pod. Did he pick up the small key?
I think No, he did not pick up the small key. So in theory, that could still be the bow farm. But it looks like he's gambling. No, he's going to Tower of Hera, not to Turtle Rock. But chat is suggesting that the bow is in Turtle Rock. So there's your guesses right there.
I mean, it makes sense because the Misery Mire big key was locked behind a bow lock location. That GFE did sequence break, and it's a little bit risky. So, and this is what you have to think about every time you do any sort of sequence breaking. So that means that anything that you found in the Misery Mire big chest and on Misery Mire on Vitreous himself could not lock it. Now, the item on Vitreous was the Ice Palace big key, so we know he's not going to find it there. So we've effectively eliminated everything that we've seen except for in Turtle Rock itself.
And he is running out of locations to check. He still does need to go back into Palace of Darkness and get that key and the Cane of Samaria, because you have to keep in mind he can't get into Turtle Rock right now. He still has to get that key out of Desert Palace, get the Cane of Samaria, and then he can go to find that bow, which we now think is in Turtle Rock, and that would allow him then to clear the Eastern Palace and Palace of Darkness as well.
That being said, there is that Castle Tower small key that he did find, which might point him in that direction, which does, at least we know from GFE, we know that is going to, that leads to a key that is necessary in some capacity, I believe.
I don't recall if GFE picked up that key or not. Oh, is that the pod key in the second chest of Aghadam's Tower?
I think so. I want to say that because that was like we were yelling at GFE at that point in time to go to Palace of Darkness, and he hadn't yet.
Well, we'll get a reconfirmation here because CS2 is about to head up there, and if that is correct and that is the Palace of Darkness small key, or at least another Palace of Darkness small key, I have a feeling that will finally push CS2 towards Palace of Darkness to at least check the remaining items.
Well, he was just there. That's the thing. I don't know if he would go back there.
Yeah, it's sickening at this point, but he might have been looking for that Palace of Darkness key and gambling that was in Eastern Palace.
Yeah, I don't know. It is worth noting that we are an hour 35 into this seed. GFE has 5 dungeons cleared. Tstew has 6. It isn't all dungeons clear. GFE is in a better position in terms of his items that he's found. But Tstew has the dungeon advantage at this point in time, and if he wants to, he can go ahead and clear out the Castle Tower, which this is required. We do not yet have the other Castle Tower key on GFE's side.
And, of course, we know that he is ahead. Basically, it's like the runners are in an isolation bubble once the race starts. They're not allowed to get any information about the other runners' progress. They're not allowed to watch the stream. And any attempt to get information basically means, well, you lose. So there's no way he could know he is ahead. He's doing these gambles, or just playing, thinking that he may be behind or something along those lines. And he's trying to find a way to get himself back in the race because he thinks it's possible both runners may at this point think they've already lost the race.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Key Sanity. This is this is the essence of Key Sanity. Always being really confused about the logic of everything. It's as much a brain puzzle as anything else. Now, usually a lot of it is just follow the logic and you're good. But this has been an unusual Key Sanity where things have opened up quite a bit and you're left going in a few different directions.
And that's why Key Sanity is such a wonderful format to watch. I personally like watching Key Sanity races more than a regular race because it's somewhat easy now to say, okay, he have found this item here, now he can go here. He found this item here. When you add in the keys to the equation, you have to find Palace of Darkness big key up in, let's say, Skull Woods. You have to find another one up in Turtle Rock. You have to find another one down in Desert Palace. You can't go to Palace of Darkness till you find those keys because you can't go through Palace of Darkness till you find those keys. And that just adds a whole new element of puzzling to the whole randomizer seed.
Chat pointing out that the hint that Tstew did get was for the Misery Mire big key, which might pull him again into the pod direction. We shall see.
Yep, that was the Castle Tower hint for the Misery Mire big key there. So let's see how many blue balls we have in Aghadam. Say we never played the game, but I would always say 3 anyway. We have 1 so far and 3 hits, I believe. And that's a guaranteed orb, so that's the 4th hit, I believe, for TS2. We're back to the 50-50. And we have another orb. GFE, meanwhile, goes into the cold stare fight. He frees the eyes from the prison. And he got the eyes in the corner and takes an ice hit, but the eyes were beautifully destroyed. Looks like they all got killed in the corner, so he had no problem with that cold stare fight at all. That Had a bit of a freeze there, but it was a beautiful fight, very quick fight. Tstew, meanwhile, warps the Dark World after taking out Aghanim 2 with only 2 blue balls. Aghanim 1, rather, sorry.
Yeah, it was an amazing fight for both the runners. GFE, that was just about textbook there on Cold Stare. This is about as good as you did. Having that Temper Sword really is helping GFE out on a lot of these boss fights as well. We'll see where he ends up going. Come on, go up. Oh, thank you. He's going up the mountain, and Tstew is going back to pod. This is his 3rd dip in pod.
We might have a race now. This is going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Question in chat, where was the 3rd sword? It was also in the right side of Desert Palace. Right side of Desert Palace, which Tstew is waiting to get the key for in here, has both our 3rd sword and the King of Samaria. Yes, he's bombing it.
Looks like we're finally going to Turtle Rock as well. So GFE is heading towards the Turtle Rock area. And Tstew is... Let's see how he reacts to this particular find. Nah, nothing spectacular for a reaction. Just gets his mirrors out, stares inside for a couple seconds, and leaves.
Yeah, I think you're like, that's what I needed. And oh, he's coming back in.
He can't clear it. Why is he going back in at this point? Is there another item that we're forgetting about here?
I mean, he's got 10 of 14 items. There are 2 items that he has not gotten, which are those bow lock portions, but I think there's also 1 more item that's back here. But man, if he gets this, he'll have to find another pod key to be able to clear the dungeon. I don't think this was anything important back here.
Yep, he now needs another pod key. He did save, though. He might do a soft reset, because he won't want those bombs. Or he'll just leave and go get a key anyway, apparently. At this point, if I was CS2, I might have done a soft reset at that point, knowing that that is the only item locked by that key. I would have gotten that key back and saved that key for later, so I didn't have to find that key when I found the bow.
Well, you're not wrong, but you know what? That's kind of the play I would make, but you're already kind of halfway in there. Meanwhile, Tstew is getting his desert on. So we'll see. Does GFE go to Turtle Rock? It feels like the play, or does he go back down to Swamp?
Yeah, I don't remember if we saw Hookshot Cave on TS2's side. We are having some stills and had a little bit of difficulty seeing the items there. I did see 1 big key, which I think was the Turtle Rock big key, so I think we did see this already on TS2's side.
Cane of Burna is in Ganon's tower, was that hint. And I tell you what, that's the best cane. It really is.
It's okay it's in Ganon's tower. At least we can ask Brian to check in and pick up his cane when we get there. TS2 finally does get his Cane of Samaria, meanwhile.
So it's 6 dungeons to 7, actually. Tstew still has a dungeon count, and now he's got all the same items that GFE does, although GFE is in Turtle Rock right now. He'll be able to possibly get to the point of being able to get the bow. As soon as he gets the bow, I think he'll be in good shape. The trick at this point, what I'm most concerned about Tstew is that pod small key. If it's locked behind something crazy and in one of those offshoot one-off locations, GFE has the keys necessary to do it. He did enough. He double potion glitched and did the hammer yump. He has the keys to go ahead and clear out Palace of Darkness as soon as he finds the bow. Tstew does need to find 1 more key, and I have no idea where another one is.
I can tell you one place it is not located, and that's in Ganon's Tower. In order to be able to get to Ganon's Tower, he would have to be able to clear Palace of Darkness because it is a crystal. And I believe the logic assumes that you have to have all 6 keys before you can actually clear the crystal, which means all 6 keys have to be found before you can get to Ganon's Tower. So we can rule out that location as one of the locations for the key. So you won't have to worry about that. because he can't get back there to Ganon's Tower anyway if he can't find that key. There's the gold sword for GFE in Turtle Rock. So we do have the all 4 swords at this point.
All 4 swords, all armor, all shields. My goodness, this has been a very heavy protection seed so far.
And Tstew picks up his bundle of sticks from the chest below Spike Room, now doing the Spike Room chest. Getting zapped by the Emos, gets his shield from there. GFE is just got turned into a bunny, so he's trying to get the key to check the Lava Island chest right now.
This could be one of those other plays. I mean, okay, both runners have all 4 keys, so I think they're in good shape. Just a piece of heart.
I'm leaning towards the bow being in Mimic Cave at this point. I don't know why, I just feel that. I just feel that.
That would be interesting. Tstew leaving. Oh yeah, he does not have the Misery Mire small key, so I think he's going to be going up here also to Turtle Rock. Oh, yeah. It gets dead rocked.
There's nothing else for him to do. He has to go to Turtle Rock at this point. There's absolutely no option.
So that's going to be just another extra play for Tstew, like another dip into Misery Mire. That's, oh my goodness. I mean, again, he's running all over. He's kind of following the logic plays. I really think, and I think someone in chat mentioned it earlier, so I want to give due credit, using the bottle glitch twice for GFE has really paid a ton of dividends just in a domino effect.
Yeah, it is considered a sequence break, but if you can find something by doing it, that's nonetheless something that can help you get something done. Even if you're not supposed to be able to do it yet, it gets it done. It gets the trip out of the way, and you can go on and do something else. We do have a small key for Misery Mire located in the Mimic Cave. There goes my feeling on that one. Tstew's getting dead rock trying to pick up that rock. Sit still, you little gnat.
Oh, and GFE did not get to see what was in that big treasure chest.
We did not see the big chest item. Hopefully we can get some information either from his own tracker if he has one, or if we can see his menu, we can see if he picked up the bow somewhere. There's the bow.
Because he just picked it up right there.
That's the bow right there. Well, let's see. I'm just taking a look at the item count here. The bow is all he needs to do Eastern Palace and Palace of Darkness. He does still have Swamp Palace, but he does now have the hook shot. I think we can say GFE is in
go mode.
That'll work.
I'm not going to be screaming it. It's just, I don't want to blow people's ears out. I don't want to intentionally blow people's ear out. I've done it unintentionally plenty of times.
Perfectly understandable. Now, both runners are making the playback here right now. The one difference in the play right now is that GFE has to go back to Swamp Palace, whereas Tstew can just head straight into Misery Mire. I think he still has to find the big key, though, in order to do that. Whereas GFE does have the Swamp Palace key. He does, at this point, have an advantage.
There's another Palace of Darkness small key on Laser Bridge. Now, I don't know why GFE is doing this. I don't know if he realizes he is in go mode.
He does have all the keys. I don't know why he's doing this. At least we know that's where the Palace of Darkness key is that Tstew will need to find. Wait, I just realized something. I don't think GFE has the Eastern Palace big key. It's not listed on the tracker.
Oh, that might be what he's looking for. Okay.
That would make sense.
And the Eastern Palace big key is in Swamp Palace. It's in the back of Swamp Palace, right?
I believe it was somewhere in Swamp Palace, yes. That would make sense, actually, because Tstew did clear Swamp Palace. GFE has not yet. So, yeah, I think it has to be in there.
Oh man, GFE is taking quite a bit of damage. Not a clean Trinix fight up to this point in time.
Trinix is a very difficult fight. I know I still have a whale of problems with that fight myself. You have to freeze the head or burn the head, depending on which head it is, and get your hits in while it's frozen. And if you miss the shot, you have to keep using your magic, and it's easy to run out of magic in this fight, especially when the runners do not have half magic like they do now. But once the heads are gone, it's just a matter of killing the turtle as it comes out of its shell. With the gold sword, that's a pretty standardly simple task to accomplish. And there is a small key there for Misery Mire, which we don't really need. Tstew, meanwhile, is now getting to the lava island. He's going to check that chest, which is just a collectible. GFE has to figure out where he needs to go for that Eastern Palace big key. We know it's Swamp Palace, which I think is what he's making the play on right now because, well, he doesn't really have a choice. He can clear Swamp Palace right now, but it looks like he's doing something at the Kakariko Village first. He's taking the long way around, so he's not going straight to Swamp Palace this time, I don't think.
Yeah, it makes me wonder what he's doing. If he just goes to Swamp Palace, he would be in great shape. Does he have?
What is he doing up here? He doesn't have the shovel.
Oh, he might have. That might be what he got.
Oh, he does have the shovel.
Yeah, that's probably what he got in the big treasure chest. Okay,
that must be it. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense that he would do that prior to doing Swamp Palace.
That does.
Yeah, he's.
Tstew trying to get through Mimic Cave. We know this is, well, nothing, but he doesn't, so he's gonna clear this out and get his nothing.
Hey, nothing is still knowledge.
I agree. And hey, you can never run out of nothing. You always have nothing.
So, which position would you rather be in right now? Tstew still has. I mean, he still has to go back to Palace of Darkness.
There's that shovel, by the way.
Yeah, he's what I imagine Tstew is going to do: get his bow, go to Palace of Darkness, do Palace and Eastern, get his Misery Mire, do that, and then he'll be ready for Ganon's Tower. GFE has to finish Swamp Palace here, do Eastern and Palace of Darkness. He also has to do Castle Tower, though. He does have both keys now for that.
Yeah, I forgot he never did that in one. That's correct.
So it is all dungeons. So they're in kind of a similar situation. You know, I think Tstew has had kind of overall better execution, I think, from start to finish. GFE has made a lot of low percent plays, but he's also, those low percent plays have helped him and hurt him in that, you know, he's gotten the mirror and the flutes and a lot of things super early, but then going out of his way to check a lot of other places, I think, has also hurt him. So it's really kind of an interesting contrast in styles here.
And it's interesting, you were asking me what position I would rather be in earlier. You never want to be in a position where you still have to do Castle Tower in a situation if you knew you were tied in terms of dungeon clears. At the same time, Tstew still has to find the Misery Mire big key. I actually forget where that was offhand myself, but he does still have to find that big key. Whereas, yes, the Swamp Palace big key, which GFE does have now, and it's the Eastern Palace big key he's going to find here. He's going to find that finishing off Swamp Palace right now. He's going to, that Eastern Palace big key actually will be his go mode item at this point, because he will have all the big keys. We know Ganon's Tower big key is in Ganon's Tower. We're not going to count that. He can just avoid anything else until he gets to Ganon's Tower and then go looking for that big key. So I would say at this point GFE is slightly advantageous, but only slightly. Wait, did TS2 not check Laser Bridge?
No, he did. He did. He has his key that he needs.
Okay. I didn't. It looks like the tracker was not updated with that, so I didn't know if if we missed him not checking that or something.
I believe there is another key because GFE saved 2 keys. He did not only the hammer yump, but also the doing the double bottle glitch. Tstew did do the hammer yump. I think the last key is located, I think, on the left side of Swamp, is what we were saying. So.
And GFE, meanwhile, does clear Swamp Palace. I don't think he picked up the Eastern Palace Big Key yet, because that's not marked on the tracker either.
No, where is that Eastern Palace Big Key?
Was it left side of Swamp? I think that was where it was.
Because he went to left side of Swamp.
Oh, no, it wasn't. There were 2 junk items over there. One was a map. I remember that now. I thought it was in Swamp.
Yeah, so did I. I mean, our tracker just said in chat he can't quite even remember which. That's fine because left side of Swamp is. I mean, that's Big Key is. That's the difference right now for GFE. If he can get that, he's in go mode and he can just kind of bum rush everything.
I'll see if we can get a look at the menu at some point for GFE and see if maybe he did pick it up and all of us just missed it somehow, because it was TS2 did find it. I'm just trying to remember exactly where it was. We are getting a pedestal check from GFE. I think he's going to blind pull it. So we are going to get to see what's on the pedestal. Get your pedestal hype in chat, ladies and gentlemen, as we float the pedestal into the air, and the master 20 rupees comes out of the pedestal.
Ew. So, yeah, is it possibly from the green pendant on Sahasrara?
It might have been, because I don't think GFE checked that.
Well, he's coming over to the area because I think he'll be pulling it right now. There's the Misery Mire Big Key for Tstew.
Yep, that wasn't Palace of Darkness. I was thinking about that, and I remember now that it was there. Just didn't know exactly where. So he does have that now, and I'm just taking a look at the items. I think at this point we can say Tstew is in go mode. I don't think there's anything else he needs to get in order to get Grand Tower. I think he can just finish the dungeons at this point.
So here's the ironic thing. We're very, very close to completing everything. Oh no, that's a small key.
Okay, well, it was a key, but not the key we were thinking. Was it in Aghanim's Tower? Was it the second chest in Aghanim's?
No, because GFE made that play early. That was a pod key.
Oh, okay, yes, okay. I'm just confused as to where that was now.
Okay, GFE has cleared. Wait.
There it is.
There it is.
It was
okay.
in Palace of Darkness. And GFE, that might have been a freeze frame where he might have just stopped and read that for a while. From the fact that he's now beating savagely on the chest, I will say he's not happy about that. Firing an arrow into the wall, firing an arrow at the switch, and there he goes.
Okay, so it was in Pod. So this is interesting. So GFE has to do Pod, Eastern Palace, and Agate Tower. Tstew is on Helmasaur right now, has to do Pod, Eastern Palace, and then take another dip into Misery Mire. I don't know about this. Like, my gosh.
I think he can go into Misery Mire and just head straight to the back. I think that is quicker than doing all of Castle Towers. So I think that does now put Tstew in a slightly better position as he completes the Helmasaur King fight first. GFE is still getting back there. So right now Tstew is ahead in terms of the footstep count because GFE is following behind him in Palace of Darkness right now. They're both going to do Eastern Palace next, I believe. So Tstew is going to go and take on the Armos Knights next. At that point, he then has to make the play, I would say, straight to Misery Mire because that's all that's left at that point. Whereas GFE, he can go straight to Ganon's Tower, I believe. and he can do Castle Tower last, which is the ideal position that you want to be in because it puts you right back on the pyramid to drop into the Ganon fight. This could still be a pretty close race, but I think the edge is with Tstew right now.
It's super close. Chat's pointing out that what you can do is go ahead and do Ganon's Tower, do Aga 2, mirror over to do Aga 1 and climb the tower, and then you'll be right back on top of the tower. And
exactly. That's what I was talking about, doing Castle Tower last.
Oh my gosh. So this is gonna be close. This might come down to even like a right-left side gamble in Ganon's Tower, because remember, we know the Ganon's Tower big key is located in Ganon's Tower somewhere.
Yes. And meanwhile, GFE does plant a silver arrow in the brain of Helmusar King, and that means Helmusar King is no more for either runner. And that's 20 rupees that we can spend on a collectible for Princess Zelda later, as GFE now gets his crystal from Palace of Darkness. He is 1 away from Ganon's Tower. Tstew is 2 away from Ganon's Tower, but he does have Castle Tower cleared.
So I'm just stopping and thinking about this. I mean, this is going to come close. This might be one of those like every second sorts of counts situations. How bad will GFE feel, do you think, if there's like the time that he spent pulling that pedestal blind? Like the one key, he sequence broke twice doing bottle glitches, but doesn't pull that one treasure chest with Eastern Palace big key. And I know that's why he pulled pedestal. He was looking for that key.
Well, if you don't know where something is and you still are not in go mode, and you're going to check the pedestal anyway, and you have all 3 pendants, there's not really a lot of time lost in checking the pedestal. Maybe a few seconds for the actual fanfare and the music to play to get the item. But it's not that much time lost, just a few seconds. And it is true, though, with that said, that a race can come down to a matter of seconds. And if it does come down just a few seconds, then it is because of the pedestal pull. I don't think GFE is going to feel bad about that, because he would have pulled it anyway.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay, so we are... I mean, GFE is finishing up his Eastern Palace gig. We'll see what he ends up deciding to do. I mean, it's an all dungeons clear. It will be the first one to enter Ganon's Tower. We'll play the game, guys. We're going to play the game. You don't get to play the game and key sanity too frequently.
Yeah, we will play the game, but we have not started the game yet, so please do not enter numbers for the game we have not started yet. But we will be, just so you are aware, and this is for our YouTube viewers, those watching on YouTube, if you're confused what we're talking about, it's the game that we play in the live Twitch broadcast, where anyone can pick numbers from 1 to 22 and guess where the big key is located. Again, very rare to see in key sanity. If you do join us on Twitch, you'll be able to play the game yourself. Subscribers or those who have donated 250 bits to the Speed Gaming channel will be able to play. GFE gets his last crystal. We are going to Ganon's Tower. Get your guesses in chat.
1 through 22. There are 22 ones in chat. Cyclone, what are you going to guess?
Well, I just say it's always 11 because, well, always. And yourself?
I have a tradition where I try to stick with the same number every time until I get it right. So I am still stuck on number 9 at the present moment.
11 and 9. Let's see if one of us, or even if someone in chat will win. As Tstew is going through Misery Mire right now. He is in the dark area, so he is... At this point, I would think that Tstew is in the advantage situation because he is not far from victory, so he does have silver arrows. This will be a pretty quick fight. And he will be about, I think, 2 or 3 minutes behind enemy Ganon's Tower. So GFE will lose time having to clear Castle Tower, which Tstew has already done. I still think the advantage is with Tstew at this time, depending on how the Ganon's Tower play goes, left side, right side.
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to a left-right gamble at this point in time. It's that close. Castle Tower is going to be relatively quick for GFE. I mean, you're not normally equipped with Butter Sword and Silver Arrows going through it. So you have to take that into account. It can be really fast, but... I mean, and it was a pretty quick Aga 1 fight, too. It was only, what, 1 or 2 blue balls? So it's something to keep in mind. But yeah, I do not think that GFE is like a full Aga tower ahead. So we'll see what ends up happening here. GFE is entering Ganon's tower right now. Tstew finished up his final dungeon, so this is just a straight line path for Tstew right now.
And the fact it's a 4 or 5 minute climb to Ganon's tower, that's going to be what really ends up deciding the race here. If it turns out to it shouldn't hamper GFE at all, so he should be okay with that. But that could give Tstew what he needs to win this race. Meanwhile, we are going to be closing the guesses in the game right now as GFE goes right side. Here comes chest number 1 and 2. And we didn't get to see what chest number 1 was, or chest number 2. And I don't see a big key, so it was not in either of those chests when we saw the map, or saw the menu rather. It looks like he is skipping tile room, which we kind of expected. He is going to go and do the 4 chests in the next room. Will he continue a full right, or will he mirror back and go left? That remains to be seen.
He's using up quite a bit of magic. I don't think he has any potions either, so he's got to be a little bit careful with his magic consumption at this point.
But there's a little bit of magic right there. He knew about that. And getting chest number 3, 20 rupees. Chest number 4, bombs. Chest number 5, money. Chest number 6, a key to Hyrule Castle in Ganon's Tower. Thanks, game!
I mean, that's totally something that is useful right at the moment, right?
Yeah, I think the seed is telling us to go to Hyrule Castle and open that door. There's something back there.
It has to be, right?
Yeah, it has to be. There's the big key.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Boots
so that's
required.
Whew, okay, so that is number, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
7.
6, 7.
Tower room was skipped, so definitely 7. Always fun seeing that big key on the torch, isn't it? So we're going to say a quick shout out in chat. Doesn't look like any sub or supporter guessed 7, unfortunately. So we still have a winner, though. Kolbasaur is the one marked as guessing closest with a guess of 8. Vitasia, tell Kolbasaur what he wins today.
You win. Here's what you win. You win the gift of me not having to sing to you guys today.
Beautiful. That's a great gift.
It's a great gift, believe me. You have saved everyone. Bulbasaur.
And Tstew is now going. It looks like he did a full right play himself. The fact that they both went full right tells me they both think that the other runner has already had a huge lead in this race, and probably went full left. So they think this is getting back into the race by going full right and making the play that they think the other runner has not done. That's what I think is going on here. Of course, the irony is that if both runners went left, they would have had the big key right away.
Yeah, so Tstew has it. GFE is at the gauntlet. Yeah, I don't think GFE has enough of an edge to be able to do everything here. He's making a yeoman's effort of it, but I don't know if he has enough of a lead. But man, it is going to come down. I mean, this is going to be a very close finish.
I'm estimating about maybe a couple minutes is probably where the finish will be, but we will see what happens here. We are not checking the results ourselves in the event that they are already finished, because there is, again, a 20-minute delay, but we will see what happens with you here on the stream. They're going to be a very close finish today.
These close finishes are the exciting ones, though. Like, this is what Randomizer is about. This is why people tune in, is because these close races to see who can really finish this off. When it's a blowout, you know, it's fine, but man, these close finishes, this is what it's all about, guys.
Yep, any kind of race, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be any kind of game. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be something as simple as a game like A Hat in Time, where you're going around the world collecting timepieces. It could be a game like Dark Souls, where you have to kill all these ghoulish enemies. Doesn't matter what the game is. If you have a close race, it's something that captivates your interest. That's what makes the whole thing so exciting, because you know that either player can win, and one mistake can change the result of the race just like that. So it's always exciting to see a close race like this.
Tstew struggled a little bit in the safety room there. He's also got to be... Oh, okay, he has 7 arrows right now to GFE's 12. I know he was only sitting at 2 arrows for a bit. That was a little bit worrisome.
Yeah, the arrow count is getting a little low, and this is the last dungeon Tstew has to do. He is going around the pots trying to get a few arrows right now. This is costing him some time. I still don't think it's going to be enough for GFE to make up the difference from Castle Tower, but it is costing Tstew some time, and it will make this race even closer.
All right, GFE is getting ready to do his Geometry Wizard 2 fight, immediately following his Geometry Wizard 1.
Trigonometry, begin! The triangle is formed, and the first balls are fired. We have, it looks like a double. I think 2 hit at the same time, so I don't think that was a triple.
No, but it was still quality.
That's a triple. Oh, it was a triple.
Triple.
Oh, that might save him some time, depending on what kind of patterns Tstew gets.
Amazing AGA 2 fight from
That was
GFE.
beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful. That was a great fight. If there was anything that GFE needed to maintain to try and get some time back in this race, that was what he needed. And that may, again, I don't think it will be enough, but that may give him at least a shot, depending on how Tstew's remaining Ganon's Tower, Aghanim 2, and Ganon fight goes.
All right, he's got to be diving in here. Okay, Tstew is in the torch room right now, so
here's the race. This is the race right here. GFE heading upstairs in Aghanim's Tower now. He is on the 3rd floor. Tstew enters the 6th floor of Ganon's Tower and lights the torches. He continues north. He is going through the room with 2 rectangular pits of spikes. Opens the key. The chests are not important at this time. He is going to throw a bomb. Open up the wall. GFE, meanwhile, climbs to floor 4 of Aghanim's Tower. Tstew again skips the chest and enters the... Well, is about to. He picks up the magic first, but now he is going to enter the Moldorm 2 fight, as GFE goes through the dark stairwell on the 4th, or the dark hallway on the 4th floor. And he's about to head to the 5th floor. Tstew gets past Moldorm 2. He's going to hookshot the chest and cross the pit. Probably will not open the chest because, again, well, okay, he believes in the memes, apparently. He does open the chest and finds some bombs. GFE, meanwhile, does find a couple red guards here. He is proceeding through this, I believe it's still the 5th floor. More red guards to get a key. Tstew enters the trigonometry fight as GFE gets to the end of the 5th floor.
All right, here's the opening one of this first fight. I don't know. Oh, I think he also
was that another triple? Oh my gosh, we could have a double triple here.
Oh no, there was a double.
Didn't get one of them. One of them didn't count. Almost.
Oh man, so 2-3-1. That would have been amazing though. Oh, I feel robbed.
Our positioning right now tells me Tstew is about to land on the pyramid. GFE still has to fight Aghanim. He is about a minute behind at this point, I would say, given that we know there's 1 or 2 blue balls in this fight. So he's about a minute behind at this point. It would take a very unfortunate circumstance for Tstew in order for GFE to catch up in this case, I believe.
Hey, anything can happen in Randomizer. I mean, Ganon can
of course
give you a hug right to the pit, so... we have a Spaceballs joke from Ganon. Of course, with this gold sword, man, it's going to be quick.
Yeah, that gold sword is going to speed up that first phase right there. GFE is about halfway through the Aghanim 1 fight at this point, knowing where the blue balls are. Tstew is on phase 3 of Ganon. Ganon is behaving a little bit so far, not really doing a lot of teleporting today, just going one at a time here. This is a very good cycle for Phase 3. Yeah, that was a very good cycle for Phase 3. So that's a very simple setup for Ganon today. He's going to try and get the 4 silver arrows planted into the ham. And
he missed. And he missed his first shot, too.
He got a double, though, so he is in good shape there. Made up for that. That's a double. That's the fight. And get your GGs in chat. As the stream goes a little wonky there for a second. But other than that, we have bacon. The butter is held in the air, and Tstew is going to finish this race right now. And looking at the chat, I do see that he has an official SRL time of 2 hours, 14 minutes, and 52 seconds. GG. And let's see if we can get... Actually, let's wait for GFE to finish, and then we will get both of them in here to chat with them. I don't think GFE is very far behind.
Absolutely. 2 hours and 14 minutes for an all dungeons key sanity. I mean, key sanity is effectively all dungeons anyway, let's be realistic. But this was not a kind seed. Both runners were kind of run all over the place with this particular seed. It was not kind. Some of the one-off locations, Zora having the mirror, the Spite Cave, the vanilla big key chest in Palace of Darkness. So many one-off locations had so much value. Really kudos to both of these runners for turning in as good of a time as we have.
And GFE finishes as well. His official SRL time is 2 hours, 15 minutes, and 48 seconds. A 56-second difference. So estimate that about right. He was about a minute behind after the while he was fighting Aghanim 2, or Aghanim 1 rather. Very, very close race for a seed like this. Let's get them both in here if we can.
Absolutely. I see Tstew setting up. Let's see where GFE is at. But yeah, that was just an amazing race from both of these guys. And to think about it, for a key sanity race that diverged in path, so, I mean, relatively early, within the first 30 minutes or so, they were on different paths, and they just kind of kept following those different paths and went all over the place. This has been your face for sale. Great.
And the way that some of the items were lined up in this seed, like we had, for example, the hookshot hiding up in Super Bunny Cave on Death Mountain. Some runners wouldn't want to go to Death Mountain without the hookshot because it makes it a lot harder to have to go back up there later to do more checking for items. The Desert Palace small or big key, was it the small key? Small key in Palace of Darkness. That took a while to find it, but you knew the Cane of Samari was hiding in that locked area of Desert Palace. So the way some of these items were laid out just made this a really, really difficult seat to navigate. Definite GG to both runners for getting through that. I see them both in chat right now in the setup channel. Let's get them both in here and talk to them. Well, Tstew just disappeared. I don't know what happened to him. There he is. He's back. I'm going to get them both in right now. Tstew, GFE, GG to both of you. Congratulations on a very close race today.
Thanks, man.
How do you feel after that one?
Just remind me never to route pod like that ever again.
You say that, GFE, but you know, the early pod play with the potion glitch puts you at a real solid advantage. If it wasn't for that one-off chest of the Eastern Palace Big Key, this could have been a much different race.
Yeah, it's always that one chest.
That one chest, bracket TM, close bracket. Definitely always that one chest that causes trouble. Wherever that chest is, it always shows up. And the way that this seed was laid out was absolutely not friendly to either of you. For like the Desert Palace small key located in Palace of Darkness, needing all the keys to get in there just to get your Cane of Samario Desert Palace. The hookshot in Super Bunny Cave. The what else do we have? The mirror on Zora. That was just a disgusting layout. Is Tstew's mic working? I don't know if we've...
Yeah, GG. This is a good game.
Yeah, GG, man.
One thing that was super interesting to us is just the different routes and techniques that you both used. GFE, did you go into this? It felt like you were making a lot of the lower percent plays throughout all of it. You know, hitting the spike cave and Zora relatively early when there was a lot more open to you, and those ended up paying off for you. Did you go into this match, you know, intending to do those low percent plays first?
Maybe to an extent, but I mean, with key sanity, there's so many keys that you need. I hate leaving those one-off locations. It happened to work when I was up, because I wanted to go up Death Mountain at that point. Desert, that was a bit of a low percent play, but it ended up paying off. And then Pod was honestly great. If I hadn't skipped chest and had went with my brain and gone to Turtle Rock and Dark Death Mountain after that, saved 20 minutes on this.
And Tstew, you know, your routing, I would say, was a little bit more traditional going through it, but you found everything. When, you know, how did you feel going through this? Did you ever feel behind or ahead, or what was kind of your thoughts as you're running through this?
I felt behind when I got the mirror because I was just so late. And I've been looking for Death Mountain access for so long that there was just no way that I could be ahead at that point.
I did see both of you were making the right side play in Ganon's Tower. Obviously, we knew from the hint earlier in the seed that the big key was in Ganon's Tower. We actually did get to play the big key guessing game in chat knowing that today. Did the way that you felt the seed was going, did both of you make the right side play because you thought you were behind?
I can't say I made it because I was behind. It just reasonable in key sanity to me to do that. I will say, with close this was at the end, I'm gonna blame chat for my loss because I pulled head just for you guys. Just for you guys.
Chad, it's all your fault.
Oh, salt.
I think you're gonna incite a war here.
I love you, chat.
I just went right side because it's just a bit safer if it's over there. You don't lose as much time if it's on left side than if you go left and it's on right.
Of course, the irony in this case was with the big key right on the torch. It could have been the first item picked up. You go get a small key, you go upstairs. This race was so close that just using GFE as an example, because it was about 56 seconds difference. That's your 56 seconds right there. That's probably about a full minute. It literally came down to that left side, right side play in this race.
Yeah, in a sense, though, I'm glad that wasn't the difference in the race. It always feels, you know, ridiculous when that's the whole reason you win, is you just make the right GT gamble.
Yes, in this case, you both made the same play, and obviously it came down to execution at that point because you both made the same play. So you don't feel dirty from it, obviously, because you both did the same thing. Winning just because of a gamble like that. In the same vein, though, the same can be said about any other play in the seed as well. You just make the right play, you win. Such as Randomizer, and such is how it works sometimes.
Yeah, we're just now getting a look at both of your guys' collection rates.
Very
172 for Tstew, 175 for GFE. So man, just 3 treasures difference. Whew. I mean, this was a great first match here for you guys. Thank you so much for letting us be a part of it.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate the commentators and, of course, the trackers. All Speed Gaming crew, y'all always do a great job.
And as noted there, the tracker Demensa. So give your thanks to Demensa for tracking this insane seed today. Did a great job clicking the buttons. Really helps us when we have a seed like this to help keep the pieces together, trying to figure out what can still be done, what still needs to be done, and just who is actually ahead. It really is a very important job. Did a great job with it. Thank you for the help today, Demensa. Meanwhile, taking a quick look at the schedule right now, I'm just seeing what is still going on. It looks like there is a Zelda 1 randomizer race coming up on the main channel. Actually, there's one on right now, and there's another one following at 11:30. So that is still coming up this evening. Most of the other events are done except for a Super Metroid Link to the Past community race, Compromiser community race. That appears to be the majority of the events on tonight on Speed Gaming. I'm going to see if I can get some races for the upcoming tournament races as well. Any other thoughts you have on tonight's scene while I do that, Vitasia?
No, I was going to say I already have the schedule up for tomorrow.
Then I'll let you do that.
Yeah, on Speed Gaming, the primary channel tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Salty Fry versus Alex Hacks. That's going to be a hard mode, all dungeons, randomized swords. Also at 3 on Speed Gaming 5, 3:30 on Speed Gaming 4, 6:30 on Speed Gaming 4. We just have so much randomizer coming at your face. Make sure to always subscribe or at least follow all of the Speed Gaming Network of channels, Speed Gaming 1 through 6, and also ALTTP Randomizer 1 through 4 to make sure that you stay tuned in to all of your ALTTP rando action.
And if you type schedule in chat, you can get a link to the schedule for this to that at speedgaming.org/ALTTPR to see the information on all these races. I see that 3 p.m. on Speed Gaming 5 is an Randomizer, and 3:30 on 4 is a retro seed. So those are some interesting categories we have for tomorrow's races as well. And that's just the afternoon races. We're not even into the evening yet. So there's going to be a lot more races coming up tomorrow. Buckle up and get ready for some more seeds like this, possibly.
Yeah, and everyone, we're getting down to where everyone's just pretty close with everything going on here. So buckle up. It's the fall tournament's in full swing, and it's so good.
Indeed. Any last thoughts from you tonight, Vitasia?
No, just a quick shout out again. Tstew14 and GFE12. Go ahead and give them a follow here on Twitch. Also to Dimensive, our tracker. Big shout out. And Cyclone, man, you know, I always get to work with you when you're behind the scenes. It was so much fun getting to work with you on the mic tonight. It's
so fun to be able to get on the mic and finally do some of the commentary myself. I've always looked at people like you on the commentary and said, man, he'd be a great guy to call a race with. And I've always wanted to get on commentary and call races with people like you. It was a lot of fun. It was just a blast having the opportunity to call with you tonight. And we have a lot of great commentators in this tournament as well. You're going to find a lot of informative people here who are taking their time and volunteering to tell you about the game that's being played. And a lot of them they all do a really great job calling the races here. So you're going to have a lot of great help with understanding what's going on if you are new to this game. And we look forward to having you around for more races as well. So please do come back for more races. So with that said, I think we should probably wrap it up here. I just want to say once again, Tstew, GFE, thank you for the great race. I think you'll enjoy watching this back if you choose to do so, to see just what each other did on this particular race. I'm just going to say good night at this point, and I'm going to give the final word to you, Vitasia.
Oh, man, so much pressure. Thank you guys, everyone, for tuning in. Remember to make sure you're following all the Speed Gaming Network of channels and ALTTPR channels. That'll be it for us, and see you guys in the next race.
See you. Good night.